What's up, y'all? It's your girl S Food.
Chaplain Harder.
It's your girl Latia.
This is DJ Nugget. Hotline.
This is Jasmine Ford.
King Nesbitt.
Trapway Kizzle.
Slancito.
Girl Tosh.
Rough Bone.
The jeweler.
Ludi Boy. Yo, what up? It's your boy Wiz Khalifa, man. And I just kicked it right here. Smoked real big with the Burgh Boys.
It's the Burgh Boys. You already know what's going on. It's your man, DJ Spillz Motors here. We got Flack, Sir Chad, Sir Flackwood.
He said Sir Chad, Sir Flackwood. He put y'all in the same.
Yeah, he shared the great one's name with.
Yeah,
I didn't know
with that mere mortal.
That was an accident. Oh, you straight? Wallflowers in the building. Shouts to Wallflower Media.
Eating the barbecue pork dinner.
No, big shouts to our last guest, to Dave Caligieri for
Yes,
202 Tacos. That was a great talk with him.
Big shout out to Dave and shout out to our guest we're sitting down with right now.
The legend, the Pittsburgh OG legend. OG legend. Everyone normally knows now as Uncle Ray, pretty much. Like
everybody's uncle.
And it's Uncle Ray to everybody. So it's
if you got some respect.
Facts, bro. Put some respect on with that.
It's only if you're old enough, really.
No, that's great, dude. Ray, thank you so much for coming, man. This is huge for us.
No problem.
You have a bunch of people in the city that have known you for years. It's an honor to have you on the couch with us here at the Burgh Boys. Let's start from the beginning, man. So.
Sure you want to do that? You got enough time?
We got enough time.
Yeah, we got enough time.
We got enough time. I know we do. We can get what we need out of it. You're from Pittsburgh, correct?
I'm from a little south of Pittsburgh, Mon Valley.
Mon Valley?
Yeah.
Whereabouts in Mon Valley?
Well, I moved around a little bit when I was real young, and we ended in Bell Vernon, really.
Bell Vernon.
Went like halfway through junior high into high school, graduated Bell Vernon.
Yeah, awesome. And so from there, like I know the story that you had kind of like, you know, when you were 17 or something, you had moved to New York, you know.
Yeah.
Now, was that when you really, what got you into hip hop?
Well, I mean, I don't know if I think there's only one person in this room that knows the beginning of this story. Yeah. The reason I moved to New York City, actually I moved, let me rephrase that, I moved to Lake Placid, New York first. I lived there for about a year or so. And then I moved from there to New York City. And then I did a little time in California and San Diego for a little bit. And then I ended up back in New York and then back in Pittsburgh. That was like the full trip.
Now you said you did a little time in California. Like what kind of time did you do?
Not that kind of time. I spent like 8-9 months in San Diego.
Working?
No, I'm kind of. I used to be a very serious figure skater.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's got to be a crazy grind.
It's unlike no other grind, man. Like you don't really think about what they do. It all started from hockey when I was little. My parents forced me into some figure skating at early teens, right before teenage, and they forced it on me basically. I was a hockey player. It didn't make sense to me at the time. To make a long story short, my father talked me into it to do it for a summer between hockey. And instead of going to hockey camp like every hockey player kid goes to. And so he talked me into doing it for 3 months, and at the end of 3 months, if I didn't want to do it no more, I would have to do it. So I did it for 3 months, because my dad's pretty cool, and he talked me into it. And at the end of the summer, you know, hockey tryouts come back around. You go from being like an average player on the team to just crushing all your friends in hockey tryouts, you know what I mean? And you're like, it starts to make sense why you're doing this. And then, you know, I did that for a couple years, and then, like, before, you know, halfway through high school, my parents were like, look, like, at this point, you got to pick one, because it's too expensive to do, like, travel hockey, high school hockey, figure skate, go here, go there, go to Canada, go to New York, wherever it is, to compete or play a game. So that's how I ended up in all those places. But to get into hip hop, to switch it up real quick, like when I moved to Lake Placid, New York first, I was 17. I was a young kid from the Mon Valley, you know, I like the Steelers and shit like everybody else.
Right.
And then I moved to New York City, and I had this Russian coach, and our first week in New York City, they moved the whole skating school from Lake Placid to New York City. That's how I ended up there. And it was like just north of the city actually, but you know, it was still a city.
Right.
And then my first week skating there, she was a very tough lady, very cool, but very tough. And she, you know, we skated a whole week with her, and we've been off, like getting the moves situated. We're all out of shape and shit.
Yeah.
And she pulls us, it's a Friday afternoon, she calls us to the corner of the ice at the end of the day. You skate like 8, 9 hours a day. And she was like, you know, we did ballet and worked out and did all kinds of
That's
crazy stuff.
insane.
But she
That's
sends
a whole
me,
long time, bro.
we go there. I'm the only American on the ice at this time. There's like the current, like, I don't know, third or fourth place couple in the world. They're Russian, another Russian couple, and me. And they're all older than me. They're like early 30s. I'm like not even 20 yet.
Right.
And I wasn't even old enough to go to a club in New York. And so I like raised my hand because she was like, well, let me go back. She pulls us in a corner. She's like, I have homework for everybody. And I'm like, what the hell, dude? And my body was hurt, bro. I was like, I want to go home and lay in the tub for the whole weekend and cry and come back on Sunday. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and she was like, I want we're like, all the Russians were pissed because they wanted to go out in New York. They're older than me. They knew what the hell was going on here.
Right.
And she's like, I want everybody to go out in New York City and dance all night on Saturday. And I'm like, what the hell does that even mean? You know what I mean? I kind of know what it means, but I kind of didn't know what it means.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I like raised my hand like I was a student, you know, and I was like, I don't think I'm old enough because I was 17. And she was like, I have an ID for you. Hands me an ID of one of the male skaters that was in another school at that skating
That's
range
crazy.
that kind of looked like me, and the dude was like 23 or 22 or something.
Yeah.
So she gives me this address, and she's like, I was the only one that had like an American driver's license at the time. So I loaded up my car with all these Russians. And she gives me an address, and it's on the, you know, the West Side Meatpacking District in New York City. I'd never been there.
Yeah.
So we pull up, we park the car, we walk up to this address, and it's the Palladium in New York. It's still the Palladium.
That's still a place.
And
Prestigious place.
you know, so I go in there, and I don't know if you've ever been to the Palladium in the 90s, but if I remember correctly, you walked in, paid, get, you know, some big guy sticks his hand on your pants and shit. It's wild. They're really checking for whatever. I'm a kid, dude. I'm just like following these Russians in. That coach put us on the VIP guest list for that shit. And we walk in, check my coat, go up this grand staircase at the Palladium, and it was like, I just saw a shower curtain on Amazon of that picture of that shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and that's my first like real nightclub experience.
That's crazy.
So I go in that night, you know, the Russians just like drag me around all over the place all night, and I'm just like deer in headlights. There's like a couple thousand people on the dance floor, it's crazy, and there's like techno playing and shit. And then at like 4 in the morning, Funkmaster Flex comes on.
What?
And then I swear to God, he gets on the mic, and the DJ booth was like way up in the ceiling on the dance floor, like it's like a perch, you know what I mean?
Right.
And he comes on, you know, his voice is like, you know, I never heard that voice before, and I was like, yo, what the hell was it? It like changed the whole scene.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he plays for a little bit, and then he played for like an hour, and then I swear to God, Onyx comes out on the stage, and they like push people off the stage, and they perform Slam. It was the first time I ever heard that song ever, and I was just blown away. Like, and then, you know, I just moved to New York. I got some friends at the ice rink. One of my good friends still today, he's like, you know, he hooks me up with Hot 97.
Right.
And then that was it, man. Like, dude, Biggie was on the radio, like, Battle the Beats, winning Battle the Beats, and they retired after like a week or two or whatever it was, and then let somebody else try it. And he put up another tune, and then that was my first taste of hip hop. So it was like,
Super tight.
you know, and Wu-Tang was life then.
Yeah.
I was at the WLLFLWR store the first week it opened in Staten Island, rode the ferry from Manhattan. Like, Raekwon rings me up at the register, and Ghostface helps me pick out a Everglow hoodie. It was hip hop all the time. It was awesome. That's just the way it was.
That was the era of music that I remember. We had talked about pretty much what helped us. I mean, what got us to want to start the show was because of Stretch and Bobbito.
Stretch and Bobbito actually they were mine and his influence.
I mean, they're
start
great,
this.
man. Like,
So,
I'm all about them for sure.
We have the Blog or Die Radio. We have that platform is for up and coming artists like they had that would send you your track, send a track, get it on, get it on your radio, and then the aspect of the Burgh Boys. We sit down, come in, you're live. We're talking to you live on the radio. We're recording it. You get it out. We get freestyles from artists. So
sometimes we freestyle.
Yeah, sometimes Flack kills it. Yeah. No, but it's just one of those things like that era. So the fact that you just described several of our kind of almost idols as far as music is concerned.
be mine too. Like,
right. Exactly, but you got to be there and witness that.
Real quick, the dude that I was talking about, the DJ, he ended up playing at the opposite night at the Tunnel for Flex. Flex were like cool back then.
Wow.
And I would go. I was a skater. I was a figure skater from Pittsburgh, and I would just go with him and hang out in the DJ booth. And then the basement was the hip hop room, and the Tunnel was called that. Everybody that I remember called it Flex's room. And Flex let him DJ on the opposite night because he played, I forget if it was Saturday or Friday or Saturday, but we used to go there every week, man, and hang out in the room. And I met like all Wu-Tang there, Karis One in the room, like they had a DJ like VIP room behind the DJ kinda, with like a lounge area for the DJ's friends.
That's amazing.
And I used to just hang out there. And if I would have known then that I was gonna ever move back to Pittsburgh and work in like nightclub business,
right,
I would have been writing everybody's number down and doing all that shit. But I was doing a whole nother life then.
Right.
I was just falling in love with that kind of shit. And then with the skating story is another story. But like when I quit skating and moved back to Pittsburgh, I actually drove a bulldozer for a year, and then I started working in bars, and I've managed a bunch of bars and clubs since. And it's just all because I like the music. It's not because I like the bar business. Like who spends 21 years in the bar business? Nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's insane that you say that because you really have had a huge influence in Pittsburgh as far as the bars. Like I know for sure, you used to work at Rex all the time. Right?
Yeah, I bartended there the last couple of years.
Yeah, I mean, I know over the last few years I've seen you there several times. And, I mean, you said you're at the Roxanne Theater?
Roxanne Theater, yeah, it's in McKees Rock. I'm a beverage manager there, and the Thunderbird Cafe and Music Hall in Lawrenceville.
Okay.
Roxanne's sick.
Yeah, the Roxanne's awesome.
I also run a grocery store in Market Square, too.
Awesome.
He's the boss.
That's crazy. Which one?
Market Street Grocery.
You run that?
I'm
Spillz.
the general manager, yeah. I mean,
Wow,
a lot of other
good for
people
you,
like to
man.
run it, but
That's
yeah.
great,
Right,
man.
I'm from-
Yeah.
Before we get into the Pittsburgh scene here, I wanted to ask you, have you ever got to meet Big? Have you ever got to meet?
No, I've never even, to be honest, even at the time I got to spend there, I was never even in the same building as that dude.
Really? But have you witnessed in person the influence that he has carried throughout those streets?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Used to spend a lot of time in Manhattan. I was a young kid. I liked hip hop. I spent a lot of time in Uptown Manhattan. Didn't spend a lot of time every time I went there, but I was in and out a lot.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
No, yeah, absolutely. No, but that's
That would have been crazy if it had been like, yeah, seen Big.
no.
I could rattle off all the ones I have seen from there.
Like, yeah, I mean you said
just-
Kid R.S.
What about Nas? You ever catch Nas?
Nah, I never caught up with him, but I got a couple cool stories. Another dude all my friends came from the snack bar at my ice rink, right? Because they were the only people that were like me, kind of.
Right.
They're either, a lot of the male skaters that are American are gay. I'm not. They're cool. They were all my friends, and we all went clubbing. Trust me. But I always ended up. There was the snack bar. I don't know where they got these people from, but they ended up being my friends, and they all live local. And that's how I learned New York City was through them.
That's crazy.
You know what I mean? Like there were some bad ones and there was some good ones. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know.
Trust me, I can only imagine the snack bar. The
Yeah.
snack bar crew, like you would have the one dude that just loves to go eat late at night.
Yeah.
Greasiest food. Then you got the one dude that gets drunk. You got the one dude that'll, he had some fun.
What about
That's fun.
who do you think is like the
Sleeping.
biggest artist you've seen? Biggest artist you've seen?
Yeah, the biggest
in
artist.
New York.
That's a good one. Biggest artist you've seen in
I
New
mean,
York.
I spent like 6 years in New York, so
Wow.
New York City, you walk down the sidewalk, man, you run into people all day, every day.
Jay-Z?
I've been in the same building as him a bunch of times. Yeah.
What
That's
about,
plus
what
he-
about like
I ain't never been in the
actresses?
same neighborhood.
Actresses?
Yeah, like.
Well, back to the skating thing real quick. I was skating in Chelsea Piers in Manhattan. It's like Midtown on the west side. It's on a pier. It's an ice rink. And I'm skating. They were doing some show or something, and it was called the New York Ice Theater. It did like a little tiny bit of things with them. And I just met these people and just started with them. They were all getting ready for a show on the following weekend, and I wasn't in it. So I was just out there putzing around on the ice, checking them out, what they're doing. And the guy that runs all that, he was like, "Hey, can I ask you a favor?" And I was like, yeah, sure, no problem. He pulls me off the ice. He's like, "Hey, I want you to go on the other ice rink." There was 2 ice rinks, like one long and one other long on a pier up high, parking under it and shit. And he takes me in the lobby and he was like, "I wanted you to give these people a skating lesson. They're working on a movie and they need to skate a tiny little scene in it, like hand to hand on a pond, right?"
Oh shit.
So
Here we go.
it's crazy. This is just a normal day in New York, you know. So I get off the ice and the dude walks me in. He's like, "I'm gonna introduce you to the director of the movie first. She's gonna be the one paying you for your services type thing. It's like $120 an hour to give a skating lesson, like a private lesson." So I go and meet this lady. This lady comes walking towards me, and it's Penny Marshall. You know who Penny Marshall is? She was Laverne and Shirley. She was ended up being a big time director or
She's
whatever.
a huge director.
Yeah.
Huge.
So she's like super outgoing and like, "Oh, very nice to meet you," this and that. She's like, "I'm shooting this movie and my leading actor and actress need to skate across the pond holding hands in a scene. That's it. Can you help them out?" I'm like, "Sure." Like, I have no idea what's going on. So she's like, "Let me go introduce you to him." So we walk around in the lobby and there's Whitney Houston sitting there with ice skates on, right? And she's got her kids with her, and like I think her nieces and nephews maybe, and I think her sister. And Bobby Brown's like off on, in the corner looking all crazy. And she introduced me to her, and she's ready to go. Like she's ready to go out on the ice. Like we go out. She was, to be honest, she was kind of a bitch. Like she didn't say much to me. Like it was a real cold like thing, I would show her things, and then she would try it, and I would show her like, "No, do this." And then after a while, she was like, "I think I got it." And I'm like, "Okay, do you need me anymore?" She's like, "No." And I skated off, and I go find Penny Marshall standing there, and she's like, "All right, I'm gonna take you to meet the actor." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I'm like trying to think who this was just the weirdest experience with Whitney.
Right.
Like she was like, I don't know,
Kind of cold-hearted.
Yeah,
and
just
then-
me, like,
but what's crazy is you have Whitney being cold-hearted to you, and you have a director being like, kind of like spunky.
yeah,
and
she
like
was
super
crazy.
nice.
She had like all these crazy colors on, and, like her hair was all wild and shit. But yeah, so she walks me into the lobby around again, and I swear to God, dude, it's Denzel Washington putting skates on.
Oh my God.
I would have fainted.
I felt like I might have. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of like starstruck a little bit. And he's like, he jumps up, shakes my hand. "Oh man, it's so cool to meet you, blah blah blah." And he's like, "Help me out." I'm like, "Yeah, sure." Got on the ice, we're out there. They get an hour each. So the hour with Whitney felt like 2 hours.
Yeah.
With him, it felt like 10 minutes.
I bet.
Because he was like, we get into it after like a half an hour. He's okay. He's a decent athlete, I guess. It's Denzel Washington. So he does his thing, and then after a while, he's like, "Yo, show me some cool shit. Just go out and show me some cool shit." I'm like, "All right, cool." Like, so I go out there and I'm skating there, show it off for Denzel. It's literally just him and me on the ice because they bought the whole ice on that side, and the ice theater people on the other side practicing. So then we get done, we get off, and I swear to God, we're walking off the ice. There's going to be a public skating session coming out next. There's all these people out, watching. And the Zamboni comes, gets ready to come out, and I walk off the ice. Bruce Willis is standing there, and he starts talking to Denzel, and I'm like, he's there for the public skating with his niece and nephew.
What?
Or two nephews.
Yeah, I heard it was public skating.
Yeah, just like ready to go skate. Like, it's in the middle of an afternoon. I think it was a Saturday or something at the rink.
At the rink, yeah.
And he's talking to Denzel, and Denzel introduces me to Bruce Willis, and he was like, "This is great. He just gave me a skating lesson." And I'm like, and Bruce is like, "Man, I watched you out there. You're pretty good, and that was cool." And I was just like, "Dude, this is the wildest shit." I go home that night. My mom calls, and she's like, "How was skating today?" I'm like, "You will never believe me." I tell her the story. She's like, "No, I don't believe you."
Bro, that's insane.
That was every day.
But see,
Every day in New York City's like that.
all because of you being you and following your passion and just doing what you did, and that's what led you to doing what you do now.
Yeah.
It's not
the traditional path, but you coming up and doing figure skating and then doing what you're doing now. Do you think any of that previously has prepared you for what you do now?
I mean, it does with a lot. I mean, I was in really good shape when I was younger. That's carrying me through life a little better. And the work ethic is, my family's all hard workers on both sides, mom and dad's side. And then when you want to be when you're a kid trying to be an Olympian or whatever, you want to do that. So I used to skate with a mean Russian lady or two yelling at me all day, and then they make you go do ballet, and then when you're done skating, they kill you. You work hard.
Yeah.
It's a hard life. You know what I mean? And then when the reason I quit, I was an ice dancer, so you have a partner, and I had at the end of all that, I had 3 partners. And the last one, she was really good. She was from San Diego, which is why I lived there.
Right.
And she gets hurt literally a month before U.S. figure skating championships type thing, and blows her knee out. Never really skate again. And that was my 3rd partner. And I don't know how much you know about having a dance partner every day. That's like your wife, sister, girlfriend, all that rolled into one. And then when you're doing that sort of thing, it takes you a long time to get good.
Yeah.
And I had already done it 3 times, and I'd lost heart instantly as soon as she, got hurt. And I was like, you know what? I'm going home, I'll party with my friends. I moved away. My sister's in junior high. I come home, she's out of high school.
Right.
You know what I mean? You miss that shit. But and then that makes you appreciate them more.
Absolutely.
When you don't have somebody like that every day.
Russian ladies want to. Do you still watch it?
Oh yeah.
Do you still watch it?
Yeah. I mean, my coach, the last Olympics, right?
Mm-hmm.
American couple won ice dancing. It was the first time that ever happened.
Yeah, that was the first medal for us.
It wasn't the first medal. It was the first gold medal.
Gold medal.
The first North American gold medalist was a Canadian couple of the Olympics before. And my coach was one to help do all that.
They trained both of them?
Yeah.
She trained both? That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
crazy. That's crazy. So yeah, it seems like everything that you kind of encountered has really been pretty fucking
I
extraordinary.
definitely would have got Denzel and that horse number.
Hit you up, bro.
I'm gonna keep it real. I'd have to ask
So,
Denzel, can we
I would
chill?
love to run into Denzel again and be like,
They'll remember
me?
They'll
Yeah,
definitely.
a skating lesson, and the movie was called Preacher's Wife.
Yeah, it was Preacher's Wife.
snap.
I know. I was gonna
Definitely
remember
you. He definitely, that would be my life goal.
And
I'm gonna go see if Denzel still
I ain't gonna lie, that movie was pretty popping.
Yeah, back in the day, it was
It's one of my favorites, actually.
Yeah, so
famous,
to be real,
Watch
you
the
had,
movie I trained them to do. Watch.
that job you had was kind of crucial, my partner,
and they
man.
literally skate across the pond holding hands together. That's it.
Yeah, but
That's what they
that
do.
was a
Feel
crucial.
connected to that scene.
Oh,
If you
man.
watch that movie, you probably
I've only seen it twice, man.
Are you kidding me?
I'm not in it. You know what I mean?
But still, you taught them how to skate. That's great.
I mean, it's like a movie you watch with your mom and shit.
When Bigfoot was here, he said that,
2 weeks ago.
yes, you get get nervous. You get nervous when someone comes in the building.
Yeah.
Like there was several occasions to where like I knew that he was there, and I kind of got nervous too. Like I ain't gonna lie.
Wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute, Spillz. There you go,
No,
buddy.
it's the truth. But this is the reason. This is the reason. It's because I knew that you how well connected you were with a lot of the clubs in the city. You genuinely have really like worked hard to do what you do. And as far as running this Roxanne, like before that, I know you were at Rex. Where else were you at? Like what were take us through the Pittsburgh journey of
All right, the
everything.
Pittsburgh journey was, I told you I drove that bulldozer for a little bit, right?
Right, 1 year of bulldozer.
So I got this job. I was living in Charleroi, PA.
Yep, know where it is.
Interesting little town.
Fantastic. I actually played with All Time Low there.
Okay.
And All Time Low ended up becoming humongous.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was living there, which is across the river from Bell Vernon, and I'm driving a bulldozer.
Mhm.
Cool job. You know what I mean? My family has a lot to do with that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And winter comes, and it kind of sucks in the winter, you know? Like outside, it's February, it's 5 o'clock in the morning, you're getting ready to fire up a cold machine. And I threw this party at a bar across the street from my apartment, right in town.
Mhm.
And, you know, me and my girl ate there all the time. All my friends met there. We drank and shit. And I threw her, she graduated from Cal U at that time.
Right
I
by
threw her a
Oh.
graduation party, and it was like the most money the bar owner ever made. I brought in some DJ friends from Pittsburgh, because I was going to raves and shit in Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
I brought up some DJs, sometimes hip-hop, sometimes, you know, electronic music.
Yeah.
And the dude was like, he loved us. Me and all my friends, we made him a ton of money. You know? He had this bar for a couple years, didn't make no money. Me and my friends started going there and packed. And so he's like, man, you ever think about bartending? I'm like, I have no idea what that means, you know what I mean? And he was like, dude, it's really no problem. You just open beers and pour shots, and that's it. So he talks me into doing it on Mondays. I do it Monday nights. Dude, right off the bat, I was making like more money than I made all week driving this bulldozer, and on a Monday night with tips.
Mhm.
I mean, I was still young. I just moved back from New York. I'm partying my ass off.
Facts.
And he was like, you know, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna quit my job and work here more. He was like, will you really? Like, please do that, man. That'd be awesome. You have DJ friends around? I'm like, yeah, sure. So I did that for a couple months, and then I come into work one day, and there was this old bar down the street that was closed. The old man that owned it died and left it to his family, and it just sat for like 2 years. It was cool as shit, and I didn't even know it existed, right? It was like happening back in like the 80s and shit like that, the 70s. It was like on the top Main Street in Charleroi. It's like right in the middle. You walk in the doors, double glass doors, and down this wide ass set of stairs into this basement of this building, and it's big. It hold like 200-300 people.
Right.
Had a DJ booth, a dance floor, pool table room, this big bar in the corner, and this lady comes that owns it. She comes and finds out that what I'm doing at Monty's place, and we had already outgrown it in like 3 weeks, dude. We were like stuffing it in there. And I come into work one day, and old man Monty was like, Ray, I want to talk to you. He's like, there's this lady sitting there, and he's like, this is Judy. He's like, she owns this bar down the street, and tells me her father owned it. He passed away. It's been sitting for 2 years. I'm like, what? I'm like, what does that have to do with me, you know? And he's like, well, since you're doing this here, like, I think that you could do it there and make it bigger, and I can just feed off the overflow, he said. I'm like, you know, what the hell do you mean? So he's like, you want to go down and see it? And I walked down there, and I'm like, oh my God, this is like a freaking nightclub, dude. Like, I was like, this is dope.
Right.
And so I was like, she's like, you want to do this? And I was like, what do you want me to do? She's like, anything you want. I'm like, okay. So immediately I get on the horn with all my Pittsburgh DJ friends, and next thing I got, you know, back in then it was DJ Yamez. I'd have him come, the reggae bus crew back then,
Wow.
a bunch of house music dudes, and, you know, drum and bass, and, you know, raga and reggae, everything. And I was bringing it to Charleroi.
So were those, real quick, were those like two of the big DJs for you though that you were connected to back then?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
Yamez and-
Yeah, I used to live with Yamez. When I first moved from Yeah, I worked at the lower, that was called the lower level of this place. It's legendary for like a year or two we were there. And it ended up getting so bad. And I was bringing these DJs up all the time, and on my nights off, I was going to Pittsburgh every chance I got.
Right.
So the lower level got pretty bad with like, I'd go in the office and people be in there blowing coke, and I didn't even know who they were. I'm the bar manager. You know what I mean? Like, it was wild.
Yeah.
You had to wait in line at the bathroom forever because it was like,
People were just
people were in there getting wild.
Yeah.
You know, and we were all partying, but
Right.
I thought for sure I was going to jail.
Yeah.
And I called the owner. I was like, you gotta shut it down. Like, it's
Yeah.
out of control.
This isn't right.
I was like, I called Yalmaz, and I was like, yo, I want to move to down, because we've been talking about it every time. He's like, you just move down here, bro. Like, you should do what you do down here.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right. So I call him up, and he's like, can you give me a job? He was like, let me see what I can do. He calls me back like the next day. He's like, I get you a temporary job. There was a skate park where One Up Skate Shop started. on
885. I was sponsored by 885.
Oh, no shit.
No shit.
I built the ramps there with a couple other dudes.
Dude, so
They paid us $13 an hour, and we built skateboard ramps, and I listened to hip hop, and you know, like JG and Jerry Cooper and all them dudes.
Jerry Cooper.
Yeah.
Did you ever
Dude,
DJ? Did you ever CJ or try to DJ?
Me?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a little bit. Never had the time for it. You know what I mean? I always joke and say I'm 43. I should have started that when I was 21 because I would have been on tour somewhere.
This
Like,
motherfucker, you just brought up both of the fucking names of the two dudes that gave me Spillz. I got my name because of those two motherfuckers.
Take a deep breath.
That's from wrecking on a skateboard?
I was sponsored by 885 Skate Park. Clint, DJ Zimmy, Mike,
I know Zimmy.
all three
I
of
gave
them.
DJ Zimmy his first DJ gig.
You got Zimmy his first DJ gig? That's fantastic, bro.
It was
Zimmy,
at the Pittsburgh
for those of
Deli
you who don't know, Zimmy actually works with Jazzy Jeff, tours with Jazzy Jeff. But so Zimmy, Clint, and Mike sponsored me at 885, okay? And then I ended up getting sponsored by One Up when I was a kid. Jerry and I drove to McDonald's. We come back from McDonald's with 3 milkshakes, one for me, one for JG, one for Jerry. You know One Up Skate Shop right when it was there.
Yeah.
They
I
had,
got a pair of Heineken Dunks from that skate shop, actually.
I still have several pairs of shoes from that shop, bro.
I
And
helped put the floor in One Up on Carson Street.
that's insane, dude.
I went there, Greg had a stack of wood. I'm like, what are you doing with this? They're like trying to figure it out. And I was like, dude, I just did this at the firehouse.
Oh my
He
God.
was like, you want to help me? And I was like, oh man, it's my day off, sure.
That's,
We just put the floor down. He bought some pizza. We hung out. And that was it. And every time I used to run the deli company
yeah.
in Shady Side, and then all the skater crew was there all
Yeah.
the time. And they used to get wild as shit.
Always.
And I'd always babysit the shit out of them, drive them all home, things like that. So that's how I got the Heineken Dunks.
Wow.
JG and Greg and Jerry brought them into the deli one day, and because I used to drink Heineken like it was my job.
Yeah.
And they were like, these are for you.
Wow.
I'm like, what? I opened it up. I didn't even know what they were. I'm like,
The
are these
Dunks?
Heineken Nikes? And they were like,
Yes.
yeah,
That's
they are. They're
Dunks.
for you. We got these. We giving these to you.
That's great.
And JG was like, you can't sell them though. And I was like, okay. I still have them. They're in my garage right now
That's
up on the
so
shelf.
funny.
Yeah, they're probably worth some money now.
Yeah,
JG.
Yeah.
No, Jason Geyer. Jason Geyer actually,
Let
he's
him
still
sell them.
he's still bartending over at Bingham, not Bingham Tavern.
William Penn.
What is it?
William Penn.
William Penn. That's it. Down in
He's the outdoor
Shady
king.
Side. Yes.
Yeah,
William Penn.
he rolls the outside patio.
Always. He's the owner of the outdoor patio. Him and Taylor Maglin. Taylor Maglin always goes down to support Jason.
So he owns the outdoor patio?
No, he's the bartender.
He's the bartender.
You
and
said owner.
He owns it.
He owns
He
it.
owns it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like I mean, that dude runs
No,
the
you said he
outdoor
owns
patio.
the outdoor
You know what?
patio. I was
They
like,
gave me my nickname Spillz because I had those milkshakes and I opened the door and it hit Jason in the back and I'm 13 years old at the time and the door swings back and hits me and the milkshakes drop on the carpet that looked just kind of like this actually, dropped right on it and they were like Spillz and it stuck. And I learned to DJ from there because they had the Technique 1200s in there. They had the 1200s in there and that's literally where I learned to DJ. So
So back on track with the bars though.
yeah, no, this is crazy, man.
So I worked there for a few months, right?
Yeah,
And I loved it. We had a blast.
right.
And Pub IG was a place that It was in Oakland underneath the Indian Garden. So I had went there once with Yarmaz because he was DJing there on Saturday nights. He was my roommate at the time. And, you know, I just go there, I meet the manager, his name was Blaine. Cool dude. Hang out with him, got me drunk as shit, you know. I kept, you know, first time I met him, like, yo, I bartend. If you're ever looking for this, the kind of place I'd love to work, you know what I mean, blah, blah, blah. So I go in there again the following Saturday, and we do the same thing. We get shit-faced, hang out. I'm there all night with Yarmaz, you know, and we go back to my house and party. And then another week goes by, and my friend Damien Dreher, he calls, and then, no, he gets a hold of Tommy Hemp. Tommy Hemp calls me, he's like, yo, call Blaine at Pub IG. I think he has a job for you. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome. So I called Blaine up, and Blaine's like, this is Ray. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, can you come down here and talk to me right now? I'm like, yeah. Like, I didn't have, I lost my driver's license before that because moving home from New York and driving is tough on you. And so I get the bus. I was living out in Point Breeze with Yarmaz. And I get the bus down to Pub IG, and I walk in, and he's like, man, I had a really bad day. He's like, I want you to have my job. And I'm like, what? This is the third time I ever been in there.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, man. He's like, I just found out today my father got cancer, and I gotta go home, like right now. And I'm like, where's home? He's like, Portland, Oregon. And I'm like, when you going? He's like, my flight's tomorrow morning. And I was like, okay, what's this have to do? Like, what do you want me to do? And he was like, I've been calling around all the DJ guys and my friends, and he was like, everybody says you should run this place for me. And I'm like, I thought I was getting a bartending job like once or twice a week, you know?
Spillz.
It's a little Spillz. Spillz too.
45, boy!
So yeah, you know, this is, you know, I'm like blown away. I'm standing in Pub IG, it's like afternoon, like 4 o'clock, right? And I'm like, oh, he's like, can you do this? And I'm like, yeah, you know, I'll just quit the skate park job like now and do it. Like, you mean to start now? He's like, I need you to start today. Like, and I was like, I'm standing there like bugged out, right? I'm like, what do you need me to do? He's like, I need you to follow me up Atwood Street to the liquor store so we can put your name on the license so you can buy liquor for the bar. And he gives me this notebook, and then the first page has like, you know, the beer distributor's number, the owner's number, the bartenders, the security dudes, the DJs, whatever. I'm holding this notebook, and he takes me up the street. I'm like carrying this notebook with all the shit in it. Literally runs me up the street, talks to the manager at the liquor store, puts me on the license, takes me back to Pub IG. Pub IG stands for Indian Garden is what Pub IG was. Because Indian Garden was upstairs. So he's like, it's a little bit messed up. He's like, the owner is in India. We're gonna go up in the restaurant and call him right now. And I'm like, okay. So we go upstairs in the restaurant. He was like, gets him on the phone. This dude's name's Didar. And I'm like, he puts me on the phone with this Indian dude. And I'm standing there, and the restaurant manager, Indian Garden's like standing there just staring at me, right?
Yeah, right.
And this dude's like, can you handle Blaine's job? And I'm like, yes, sir, I can.
Yeah.
He's like, well, I'll be back in like 3 months.
3 months?
And I was like, he's like, the dude standing there with you, his name, you know, he's like, he will get you the checks to buy the liquor and beer. You know, he'll show you how to log the sales and how to do that. The Blaine dude, the manager dude, walks me downstairs into Pub IG, and he's like, thank you so much, man. I really appreciate this, but I gotta go get ready to go home.
Yeah.
Dude leaves me in Pub IG. I'm the only person standing there waiting for the staff to show up that didn't know who I was yet.
Oh,
So it was the third time I was in that room, and I'm standing there holding a notebook with the info and keys. And then I met Bonix the same night.
yeah.
He came in because he was living next door.
Yeah.
And he was like, are you Ray? And I'm like, yeah. And he was like, he had this spiky ass blonde hair. This I'll never
was the
forget it because he
blowout.
had a puffy orange vest on, right? And he's like, are you Ray? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, my name is Brandon, and my DJ name is B Bonix, because back then it was B Bonix. And he's like, I DJ here on Thursday nights. It's college night.
Yeah.
And this was like a Tuesday. And he was like, please don't cancel my night. I'm like, bro, I don't even know what's going on here. Like, you just do your thing, and we'll worry about that later. I was like, you just keep doing what you're doing, please.
Yeah.
He comes back Thursday, and it was, dude, rocks the pants off the place. It was packed. He promoted the shit out of it so that I wouldn't cancel it.
Correct.
And it was like, I felt like they were piled on top of each other. And that dude showed up with like 30 crates of records, man, and took requests on vinyl.
Are you kidding me?
Yep, true story.
That right there is something that.
I ended up living with him for like 6 years too.
Like how did living with Bonix for 6 years? How did that happen?
It was a great time in my life, man. We had a good time. He's a great dude.
Was there a lot of DJing involved?
That could be a whole other episode of stories.
Yeah, right.
Living with Brandon, to be honest.
Was there a whole lot of DJing going on though?
Oh yeah, he was. I mean, that was later. I lived with him.
Really?
You know what I mean? I was working at Firehouse. He was already on the radio,
right?
And things like that. It was right before he started with Wiz. Is when I was living with him.
Oh wow! Yeah. And he's been with Wiz for 10 years now.
Yeah.
So
we're old. I'm 43. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No. But see, that's the other thing, man. Like just talking to you about the evolution of hip hop, almost like we've covered genres of that shit.
You don't
I
like
mean,
that
I how do you feel about this new stuff, man?
It's hard on me.
It's hard on you.
I want to love it.
You want to love it,
I want to love it,
but you can't.
What's the closest you'll get to it?
To be honest, I don't listen to much of it anymore. I listen to a lot. I've hit that point in life, like, you know, when you're in the nightclub business, you try to keep current as long as you can, and it got worn out for me, and I'm not current no more.
He likes Hardo though.
I like my shit that I like. I listen to a lot of reggae. I listen to a lot of electronic music. I listen to a lot of old hip hop still, and you know, lots of weirdo shit. I like a lot of house music. I'm into techno and things like that as well. So.
That's cool.
My man right there.
Did you ever meet the Blast Lord?
The Blast Lord. We call our cameras the Blast Lords.
Right.
Yeah.
We would have had fun in the 90s.
Yeah.
Going to them underground races.
We got high quality cameras.
So for the kind of stuff you're listening to now, I know you don't really get into the music currently, but did you ever work with any artists in the city?
I mean, not like, I've always been on the other side of it, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I've always been on the service side of it.
Mm.
You know, just the only artist relationships I've ever really had were all party.
Yeah.
You know, they're my friends.
Right.
And I try to get them money because
Right.
I usually run the place they're trying to DJ at.
Yeah.
And that's what, that's where that part comes in. You know, like I said in the beginning, like, I didn't get into this because I like the bar business. I got into it because I love the music.
Music, and that's
now
that's
it's
the
just
reason.
turned into like my career at this point. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know, like I do Roxy and Theater, Thunderbird. I do a lot of blues and bluegrass and jam band stuff and rock and metal and you know everything.
Yep.
And I like what I like.
No, yeah,
That's
absolutely.
it, dude. You know, I always
Absolutely.
say good music is good music, and bad music is bad music, no matter what the genre. You know, there's definitely new hip hop out there that I would probably love. I just lost the heart to dig for it anymore. And I feel that hip hop now is like, if you want to hear stuff like for guys like, you know, even guys or girls my age, you got to dig for it now. It was in our face back then. Now you have to look for it, and it is out there. You know, but I'll just throw on an old Nas CD or MP3 or whatever we're doing now. You know.
The fact that you've been through the eras of music, what would you say would be your favorite?
I mean,
you know, you got.
I'll tell you what, man. All of it. I did love me some '90s East Coast hip hop, but in the end, man, if you could have lived and seen a few things that I seen in the nightclub scene in New York at that time, house music isn't the same as it is now. Like, there's different styles of house like everything else. And New York 90s house is some of the hardest shit you'll ever hear in your life. And I swear to God, like, there's nothing like it. There's an influence of hip-hop and a heavy influence on, like, Latin culture. And you mix that with house music, the party explodes, dude. And the scenes that were there for that kind of shit back then, there'll be nothing ever like that again.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah, no, and I can believe that because there's so many different underground scenes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like from back in that era to where that I couldn't even imagine.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially 'cause,
reggae,
like,
I love reggae, man. If I could go back to like 80s, 70s, 80s Jamaica, I would be there in a heartbeat. Dude. That's
yeah.
my true love. I love the stuff. 90s dancehall, 80s dancehall.
Yeah.
Man, that's the whole. That's like in my head. It's house, New York, 90s house, and 80s, 90s dancehall. Because that was when I was in New York at that time. That was the livest shit you will ever see, man. The energy that comes off those two scenes will blow your head off.
I still can't believe you saw Grandmaster Ghostface.
His name is Funkmaster
Funkmaster
Flack.
Flex.
No, you saw Funkmaster Flex. So you saw Funkmaster Flex, and then you saw Ghostface.
Where did Grandmaster come in anywhere, bro?
You think his
I
chest?
mean, I hung out at
think it's
Mr.
chest.
Small's with Ghostface and Raekwon with Brick, Drastic, Brandon, and me in
Wow,
the green room after a show one time.
that's crazy.
I mean, I always joke, one of the highlights of my life is when Raekwon says to you personally, "What's up, son?" It just changes your whole life.
That's yeah, dude. That would be insane.
Yeah, it was gold. Like you'll never forget that. You know what I mean? Like no matter what you do, you'll never ever forget that.
That's so fucking awesome.
I got one more New York hip hop icon story if you want to hear it.
I do want to hear it. Please, share it.
So there was this Dominican dude named Dominic that used to work in my snack bar, like I was saying.
Yeah.
And his family owned a bunch of like mini grocery stores all over the Bronx. Decently well-off family in the Bronx. He graduates high school while I'm friends with him. So I go to his high school graduation party in like the middle of the Bronx, right up on the hill from like Yankee Stadium and shit, in this nice, cool little neighborhood. And they got this tiny little backyard, and they're Dominican. They're partying, dude. There's like salsa banging outside, grandma's salsa in the kitchen and shit. And it's a great. Food's awesome. And I'm out on the back porch sitting with my friend, and he was like, and this, I swear to God, dude, this Range Rover pulls up in the back alley behind the yard. And this is gonna blow your mind. Should I wait for him for this?
Mm-hmm. All right.
So yeah, I'm at a high school graduation party, and in the back behind the yard, there's like this little fence, this little alley in the Bronx.
Mm-hmm.
And this Range Rover pulls up, and these two big ass dudes get out. I'm on the porch, and I'm an avid hip hop fan at the time. I know who everybody is, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm looking, I'm sitting next to my boy. It's his party. I'm like, is that Big Pun?
Oh,
And he was like, yeah. And then he gets out of the passenger seat, and Fat Joe gets out of the other seat. And they come walking in, and Fat Joe's carrying this big orange gift. It's like wrapped in white wrapping paper with a big orange bow on it. I swear to God. And I'm like, blown away.
like,
And I'm like, yo, is that Fat Joe Big Pun? And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, what the hell were they doing at your graduation party? He was like, oh man, my older brother grew up with Fat Joe. They're homies. I've known them since I was a kid. They're coming to the party, and I'm like, whoa. He's like, you want to meet him? I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to meet these dudes. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So we walked through the yard, you know, like I said, place is gone nuts. Nobody even cared that they were there. They were like family, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we walked like in the back alley, right by the thing. He hands him this gift. It's like a Tommy Hilfiger tuxedo or something crazy. And he's like, you guys want to smoke this? And we were all like, you know, when Fat Joe asked if you want to smoke something, you go do it. So we walked down the alley, and we're all talking. And it's me and my boy, his older brother, and Fat Joe and Big Pun walking down this alley in the Bronx. And we're talking, and he's talking to my boy, congratulations, proud of you, all this and that. And he goes, Fat Joe just opened a clothing store and a restaurant at that time in the Bronx, like a nice restaurant. And he says to my boy, he's like, you know, the other part of your birthday gift is let me know when you're coming to the restaurant, and I'll buy you dinner. And then my boy, that he said it, he's like, Ray, you want to go to dinner at Fat Joe's place? And I was like, hell yeah. Like, just let me know, like, whenever we're going. So literally like a week later, my boy calls, and he was like, yo, you want to go have dinner? And I was like, hell yeah. So we drive up, you know, into the Bronx, and we get in, and Fat Joe sits down and eats dinner with us. Coolest dude, man. And then he owned this clothing store down the street. He's like, come down the shop, check out what I did with the place or something like that. You know, we go down, and he's like, we walk in, he's like, pick out an outfit, both of you on me. So I picked up a Carl Kanai hoodie. You know what I mean? He had all this stuff in the store. And I got a hoodie and like a pair of sweatpants that matched it. And it was, I got to hang out with Fat Joe, and that was it. Never saw him again.
That's super tight. Oh, Big Pun say anything to you?
Big Pun was kind of chill, man. He didn't say too much. He like, I got, shake his hand and, walk down an alley in the Bronx and smoke an L with him, but he was pretty laid back. He didn't say too much, and to be honest, it was hard for the dude to walk. Like he was a big boy. I remember he listened to the dude breathe, sounded like there was a bulldog next to me. You know what I mean? Like, he was cool. Like they were both intrigued that I was from Pittsburgh. You know what I mean? They were like, "Where are you from? Like, what do you?" And my boy was like, "Yo, he's a pro figure skater. He's from Pittsburgh." And they were like, "Oh, you're from Pittsburgh?" I'm like, "Yeah, well, we love the Steelers, man." Bro.
That's what's
bro.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
This is Uncle Ray, and I'm hanging out here with the Burgh Boys.